Live, back, ladies and gentlemen. One more day, right? I had the funniest everything. So I had to walk the dog, drop this in the back, and Bluetooth to my quarterback. They want Bluetooth to my so we're gonna just let them charge. Matter of fact, remind myself, we've got upgrades. Charge this to save this also. It should be. So it's not bring down the wheel. Just let it charge there. And we can get started. Official test start time, 2 minutes, 5 pages, 5 paragraphs each, 5 words each sentence, 5 computer spaces in between, 5 revisions. You can use your hyperscientific, you can use any artificial intelligence or any technology, but you must show the work and share it with the class. If you do not, you're going too soon. All you do is use technology, you will get 0 credit. So, test driving a new prototype. This is day 2. Advancing on the programming. Very happy with that. Holidays are coming, a few days away. Busiest day of the shop. Shop's gonna be crazy. But we are finding balance in everything, right? In all things. So small technical, um, what you call it? Let's see. I had the program running the whole time. I just realized that. So I don't know what's most exciting. Let's just check the markets real quick, see what's going on in the universe, right? Because I am like a fish out of the water. If I don't know what's going on in the stock market. And we don't have a choice because yesterday was just crazy. Like the day was perfect, but it just ended on this cliff note, right? This situation, and all I could do is just kind of pray for it and pray through it and just kind of get through it. Really, I had no other way to administer it. And now we get to, you know, be as cool as we are, and we get to discuss it, right? So with the Warner Brother deal, I called one of my management staff, and I'm trying to talk about the data points of the deal because at least we have a date. We have from January 8th to I guess July 8th, which I didn't know. All this I learned yesterday, right? I called my one of my management teams, right? So I called Randy, and it turns into a psychological advice and therapy session. As you all know, I'm a doctor, so every once in a while I have to just be a doctor and kind of disconnect from the business because I'm dealing with so many people, right? So I didn't really get to address those things after that meeting, which was the last meeting I had yesterday. And again, I'm trying not to have so many meetings, but I don't have a choice because we're trying to get this deal done, right? Um, I still had to deal with all the other things that were happening inside the business. And, you know, I don't know. I don't know how I feel. I fell asleep late, which, I always go to sleep first thing, right? Always military mindset, go to sleep early, wake up early. And I woke up late. I did get good rest, but it was like a stressful rest, right? So I woke up and I was just scrambling. Oh my God, I gotta do this, I gotta do that. Then, of course, I'm taking phone calls, and the sabbatical started last night for me. Jewish, right? The fifth going on 6th day of Hanukkah, right? So it's a powerful moment. Right? It's a lot to process for one person. First of all, let me show you this amazing artwork. Can you dig it? Can you dig it? Look at this artwork. Check this out. Really nice. I just upgraded my power. Check it out. You got to think about Jim Carrey. So I figured this would be a good moment of reflection. Right? What is that to reflect on? I don't know. I need to explore that. Even though the day yesterday could have ended in a horrible way, I still found good in everything that happened because you know what I thought about most? It wasn't about the normal things that I would have assumed a normal person would think about. The highlight for me was walking the dog. Walking the dog before that situation, after that situation, during the situation, and first thing this morning. It's like for those few minutes, I found peace. I found stability. I found structure, you know. And actually, I was almost finishing cutting my nails, as you can see. I forgot two things here. And it's one of those things. You know, I pray every day. Sometimes things happen. Sometimes all you do is pray. So that's kind of where I am with everything. You know, in its own unique way, right? Like I literally had no choice, you know. I had no choice and you know, so many thoughts running through my mind, you know. One moment to just take a breath. And you know what? At this stage of my life, I've learned to appreciate those moments, even if they're brittle and they're temporary. I guess passive would be a better term. You know? But this is part of the journey. You know? Of course, I want to engage in business and stuff like that, but I feel like you guys need also a little bit of inspiration and motivation. You know, I keep conveying this to people that are closer to me, but they don't understand. I'm on a spiritual journey. You know what I'm saying? All these hopes, dreams, all these goals, aspirations, everything I'm going for is very spiritual. It's very emotional because of the way that we do business differently. And we actually take pride in that. You know, we take pride in being able to do that, right? It's what sets us apart. It's beyond a unique competitive advantage. It's just an assertion of who we are deep down inside. And for some reason, there's the need um, for us to, I guess, want to be understood. And I don't even think Jeff Bezos does a good job of telling you know, how it was once upon a time, you know. So, in a sense, I'm kind of happy that we learned a few insights from from the whole Warner Brother deal. At this point in my life and my career, I've learned not to get my hopes up. Until the money's deposited in the bank, there's nothing to celebrate. We're just entertaining offers and opportunities. But I feel like this is also important for my emotional, mental, psychological well-being, because a lot of people reached out to me thinking that I must have been feeling bad or assuming I was feeling bad. And I have a newfound sense of peace and direction. You know, I'm gonna finish my coffee and go to the business and just kind of go from there. Looking back now that I made the decision, I kind of feel like that moment that was a highlight for me was the highlight. I don't control my emotions. I explore my emotions. I want to see why I thought about something, why I perceived it that way, etc. And learn from it, because I don't have all the answers. I'm very good at a lot of things. I'm excellent at a lot of things. And a lot of things, you know, I definitely could use some assistance. I think the most important thing is companionship. Above all, that's what I feel like I'm working on. Technology is amazing. Being able to work with this great team is amazing. But like I always say, people sometimes encounter certain challenges. They may deal with it in a different way. And, you know, I always say, one moment can change your life, it can stay the same. The choice is yours. I made a decision in my life, I made a change in my life, and it has dictated everything ever since. I think about that universe, right? How things would have been different, could have been different, should have been different. But that's only to learn the valuable lessons inside that connotation, like, or that perspective. And, you know, we're all humans, you know what I'm saying? We're all learning. We're all kind of going through these things. For me, it's like I'm just constantly learning, you know what I mean? This is one of those situations, you know, all you can do is pray. That's all you can do. Just pray. That's what I'm gonna keep doing. Hopefully, my prayers go through. You know what I mean? And the rest is up to God. You know what I mean? It's uh, it's one of those things. So as much as I rely on my management team, and I have a lot of superheroes, in my management team. Yesterday, I was reminded that they're human beings too, and they go through things. And it's like, I guess the whole Warner Brothers thing kind of burned everybody out, to where in my mind I'm thinking business, like, yo, we're gonna have a meeting, that's all I want to talk about. And it's like every person in my staff was demonstrating to me that, they're still human beings, they're going through things, and everybody's not gonna be as energetic as me, you know. Rami told me about an album she was listening to. She loved the song. She was cooking to the song. She played the album 2 times. I haven't even heard the album. I'm just the artist. I'm just putting out the music, but I don't get to enjoy it because it's so competitive. So when she expressed that to me, it was like, damn, you know what? There's human beings in my company. You know what I mean? I need to know how to shift and change gears. When it's time to be competitive, be competitive. When it's time to just reflect, reflect, you know? And that's what I'm doing right now because I'm so organized. I do everything in a specific way, right? Today was one of those days where it was like, all right, you're gonna have a late start. You're gonna be in your office a little bit late. You're gonna have to have meetings a little bit late. We still have plans. Yo, our books are gonna be full all day. And you know, as much as I don't want to, I know how important this is because this is the universe telling me, yo, take a quick inventory, reflect, analyze everything, think about everything. Because it's one thing for me to be a doctor, right? But it's different if I'm doing an analysis or let's say like a prognosis, diagnosis on myself. I'm a emotionally invested. And I don't understand, God put me on this journey and I'm just like, all right, let's go through it. But if there's one thing that I pulled away with yesterday from my last meeting, this was my last meeting of the day. I was so tired. Everybody on my staff is human and they're going through things. And the thing is, I understand what everybody's going through because that's my specialty. So I cannot unknow it or unfeel or unthink what I'm thinking because I understand why they're thinking of it. And part of it is the fact that if we and when we will, okay, let's think positive. When we close this deal, it's life changing. And I think it really overwhelmed them, and they just needed a pullback. Even if the date was January 8th, because honestly, it's really more like July 8th. But they have shareholders to impress, so they're going to say it's January. And then January comes, and then we're waiting until February, March, and then that's how they do it. They give you a little bit of a data set point, and then in a month or two, they do it again. That's all it is. So let's explore that because how do I feel about it? I don't know. But all I can do is try to pursue that. So Warner Brothers takes the deal with advice from the shareholders to the stockholders, right? The board of directors. So Netflix comes in and they have the market cap. Now that's a different juggernaut because what does that mean? Well, just like I communicated with all the artists overseas and all the media overseas, they may be looking for crevices of opportunities to do business, right? As I am, and as any entrepreneur would. That's just common consensus, right? So now I have to, again, be a grandmaster chess player, thinking 18 moves ahead, right? 18 to 24 moves. Now, if Netflix posted the best deal because of market cap, neglecting the hostile takeover from Paramount Plus, which we know it's a battle for subscription supremacy, right? Well, does that mean that it impacts the value of the catalog because of what they're appreciating Warner Brothers to be? Or should we focus on Netflix market cap, reevaluate, reassess the value of the catalog, and renegotiate for more? You see how that changes the dynamic of everything? It literally changed the dynamic of everything. So, why is that important? It's important because we may be leaving money on the table. And I'm not saying it's all about the money. The leverage is better, the resources is better. But that opens up another lane because we know where the catalog is going. And of course, that's intellectual property, right? Those are trade secrets. So I can't publicly say, yo, I know what they're going to do. You get what I'm trying to say? But we are ready to pivot, juke, and adjust as things develop because now we're judging their character to see how they actually do things, right? So I haven't had the time Obviously, nobody has had the time to explore what the portfolio is for Netflix, but it is a mega, mega, mega um, farm for people. And how do we know this is the future of entertainment? It's because most people haven't seen the money play. Earth Gotti puts up his catalog, gets a line of credit while retaining ownership, 150 million. What does 50 Cent do? He starts building these facilities in Louisiana, starts promoting and producing films, series, etc., and taps into that market, starting with stars and building it from there. Empire, um, Power, and all these other series, which thank God I don't even watch TV, but they're huge hits, right? Huge successes. So where do we stand with that, right? What is the strength of Netflix portfolio and what we're trying to do? Because remember, a million people subscribe and they click on anything in our catalog, we're going to get that direct royalty. Plus, we're going to make money on publishing and every other type of royalty. So, how do I even present that to the lawyer? How do I go to my publishing and ask them to kind of build this bridge when you have to consider what is the growth of the actual app every month, right? What percentage of that growth would represent a musically inclined subscriber? And then from that percentage, how much are we able to take? You know, I have to think about when I think about, for example, the video games. I say, listen, if we can sell 5 million units, we're in there. 1, 2 million units is barely scratching the surface. We really wouldn't be turning a profit. And that's just being realistic, that's being honest, right? So the question becomes, can we secure 5 million subscribers? And now remember, this is one app. We could do 5 million all across the board. How much is that worth in today's market? I don't know. I have to do the research. That was one of the ideas that kind of spawned from the entire situation. Now I'm afraid that there's a sense of like a lot of control. Once they said 2 years and they said, 7 months, whatever, I knew why they were emphasizing the 6 to 7 months. Now the fact that yesterday they said it could be as early as January 8th, I doubt it because there's so much controversy behind it. So what are the verticals and what are the horizontals? Everything has to go back to Netflix because Netflix is the bigger distributor. So it's not just Warner Brother Discovery, it's not just the off branches, right? It's the way that they put it together that is intriguing to me. It was very strategic for the CEO for Netflix to speak to the public yesterday. Now, after the data comes out, you go back and you listen to that interview, and it's as if he already knew what was happening, what he was trying to say, what he was negotiating. And I didn't realize that the market cap was the emphasis of the deal. I thought it was just infrastructure. It is not infrastructure. It is market cap. So this puts everything into perspective, right? So at the end of the day, all we could do is pray, take our time because we can only control what we can control. And what are we going to do? We're going to continue to build value in our catalog so that these potential business partnerships remain interesting. And I go back to saying to all of you, it's about showing proof. We have about anywhere from 5 to 10 billionaires on board, but the name of the game is results. The name of the game is showing proof. We need to not only impress these people and get their attention. We need to win them over. And that is very hard to do when it's so competitive. What's going to set us apart? The only thing that sets us apart is really the catalog because of the size of the catalog, because of everything the catalog is and is to be. This is why it's important to not miss a rehearsal, not miss an engineering mastering session. Gami was mastering. I've been mastering the last few days. Whenever I had a chance, because I literally have not had the chance to. You know what I'm saying? And that, in a sense, has been outside of my control. So what can I do? Of course, it's frustrating, but it is liberating to acknowledge that you want to fix something, you want to work on something. So what can I do? My hand is being forced on the, let's say, the analog side, right? Hardware, software, on the physical realm. But I have to go through that to be able to be successful in the digital world. The difference is that our culture will speak about it more, will express it more, we're more passionate. When you look at a Jeff Bezos, he just simplified everything. When you look at a Elon Musk, just simplified everything. Steve Jobs with iPhone just simplified everything. But it doesn't mean that because that's what they're conveying to the public, it doesn't mean that that's what they feel inside. And I'm really big on that, especially when a moment happens where I have to reflect and say, okay, think about the human form and think about the human factor. What can I do different? What can I do better? Because the biggest challenge in my portfolio, my company, my investments, is dealing with the people. It is dealing with the people because I don't want anybody's feelings to get hurt. I don't want anybody to feel mistreated in my company. I don't want anybody to be belittled or put down. We're all business partners. Everybody comes in owning stock in the company. I don't like the word employee. I don't like to say that word. I think the connotation is just not my speed. It's not my bias. We're all business partners. Now you do it better, or I do it better. We do it better together. So I'll give you the example. I had a meeting with Dean all the way in Africa with comments. I had to postpone it. What I was able to deliver was very, simple, straight to the point. Same thing goes with Team TMP and Team Mauricio. I fired Mauricio 2 times this year. By the third time, yo, like, what can I do? I'm helping him on the family channel as a friend, as a mentor, not as an executive on the board. Because probably the advice that I would give that staff and that team, even in private, will be completely different. And now it shows. It it became too clear and evident in too short of a time span. Because remember, from the introduction, the approach was not the best. So I was very reluctant to even accept the meeting. And of course, there's the famous meeting with L'Oreal, April 22nd. I'm flying international. I couldn't change that. And mind you, I'm just leaving California. You're like, yo, I need you in Canada. All right, I'm going to go to Vancouver. No, I need you in Toronto. I cannot do that. What am I going to do? I'm going to turn my private jet around and say, yo, make a U turn. Inefficiency, ineffectiveness, getting through the political barriers, right? Mind you, the entire staff is like, what the heck is going on, right? Yet I have to be patient, situation after situation after situation. Do you know that the dynamic of negotiations has completely changed? It's as if we're in a different meeting. If we were to have the same negotiations today, the outcome would not be to our best advantage or to our best interest. And that's the power. Even though we may complain, God is like, yo, I'm not saying no. I'm just saying that right now, just chill. I got you. I have other things that I need you to work on. And I get that, I accept it. God, you know what? You're right. But I'm still human. You're still gonna have thoughts, emotions, feelings. You know, in the entire situation,
Table 15.
the entire breakdown
Big breakfast.
comes down to how do you administrate these things? How do you move forward? And this is for my medicine majors and my psychology majors. Why is it that we are at this phase or stage of the journey? I don't know. I don't know. I could tell you, like I just said, one of the highlights for everything that I aspire to do is to walk the dog. I cannot describe to you my reflection of myself yesterday. I was walking the dog. This morning, I did the same thing. Now I look forward to it. Every 2 hours, I want to take the dog out because it's so therapeutic. It's the best way to disconnect from the business. And you know what the puppy wants to do? All the puppy wants to do is play. All the puppy wants is love. Anywhere I take the puppy, it's just so nice to people. It loves the attention. And when you think about it, that's what every human being wants. They want that love and support and understanding. They don't want to have to worry about stuff. Obviously, the puppy doesn't want to be stuck in my office all day, you know. But I didn't even know that I could bring the puppy with me, like shopping and stuff like that. But I had to put the puppy in the basket and stuff like that. And I'm over here telling the puppy like, "Yo, you're a superstar, right? You're part of this movie too." So imagine you're on the surfboard. It's good on the surfboard, but in the shopping cart, it's different because he can't maneuver it like he would be able to do on a surfboard. How many people have a dog that can jump in front of their surfboard and surf and have their own surfboard? You get what I'm saying? Like, it's the little things in life. So this is a token of my appreciation. This is definitely a token of my appreciation. And I have to administrate all of these things. I also wanted to give away a lot of gifts um, to my neighbors and stuff like that. And even with that, I have to show constraint because in my culture, that may mean one thing. In a different culture, it means something completely different. So what can you do? You do your best to administrate that entire situation. You know what I'm saying? So where do we go from here? You know, where do we go from here? Let me send out a thing because you know what? If we can do the module in the office, let's just do that. I'm gonna call my nephew. I think that way I can see how the business is going because I'm physically here, but my mind is already in the business, working out, reaching out. My offices are closed. Thank God it's a Monday morning. I should be working on Christmas, and I should be working on New Year. Those things are extremely important. I've had years where literally one person showed up, and I still made the commitment to my clients. So I'll give you another example of yesterday. I finished with the client. I attended my business meeting. I taught a seminar, gave a master class. I did like a TED Talk speech. As soon as I finished, it must have been within minutes, I had another client. So now the dynamic of the conversation that I had with the client was, do you know that in between, you know, this client and my last client, I had business meetings in between and I took care of so many things. Had I thought about it, I wouldn't have done that. And why is that an issue? Because too many times as entrepreneurs, we just kind of let things slide. We say, no, we'll get to it. Or I'll get to it tomorrow. Even though my offices are closed, that doesn't mean that I don't have work to do. I'm still at work, like every single day. There's no days off. I have a technology company. If I have the internet, I'm connected to my portfolio. But the difference is for me, being an artist, dealing with the public, being super public on stage. After I'm on stage, I'm super duper private, right? Now, all it does is produce input from people calling me and asking me about stuff. But still, as the owner of the company, I still have to now reach back out to everybody on my staff. How was the week? How did you get through the day? Are you facing any challenges? What's going on? What has changed between this week and last week? What can we do differently? I want to dedicate time to Team Lead and Team Wakanda and Team Africa. What I like to do was give a little bit of my love, support, understanding. I want to continuously teach things to Team TMP, the original Team TMP, the new Team TMP, and of course Mauricio Ruiz. But I don't have time. I need to support my lawyer who's running amazing campaigns, and I have to hold my position. People like Casey Graham, Bradman Sean, no ladies necessary. These are my people. I got C. Gardner working with Brink and Speed, Horsepower Obsessed. That's my squadron. I still got people like Doug DeMiro. I got people from Donor Media. I got people from Speed. These are all my friends and my peers and my colleagues over the years as I'm building this company. So of course I'm going to be supportive. Even if they don't need my help, I still want to offer my assistance. Even if all I could do is do it in the marketing and the digital side. We're Team Taylor Swift. We have another rollout coming. I have to prioritize that because she's part of the negotiations. And I still don't know what's happening behind the scenes of everything that's going on. So we take it a day at a time. All right, I got a call. They need me at the office. We'll be right back. Let's get a quick prayer in, and then we can send you guys off. Thank you, Heavenly Father, for all the blessings in our lives. And thank you, Heavenly Father, for all the blessings in our lives. We worry not about what we don't have because we're in the process of getting it. And in that journey, everything we do is unique. Amen. Amen. May you have an amazing day today. May you conquer everything in your path. May everything that you touch turn to solid gold bars and silver bars. Beautiful and precious gemstones such as moissanite, laboratory grown diamonds, or any precious gemstone grown in the laboratory. Always remember to dream big because dreams come true. It happened to me, and I know for a fact it's going to happen to you. We'll be right back. We'll link up at the office and we'll go on today's adventure. So let's pre-program the live here, so when we get there, we can just press play. So let us rock and roll, because help is on the way. Inbound is coming, baby. Let's go. You guys have the best teacher in the world. It's just today's an emotional day. Don't worry. Once I finish my coffee, we'll be doing backflips.